money. It's hard to get the money back, as we've said. But I have a concern as a citizen from the economic standpoint as well as the public health standpoint and safety. I think we need to encourage people to be healthier and to lead healthier lives and to feel that their kids can ride their bikes to school safely and start that trend now. And I think it's sad when I see some of the numbers involved in that. And from a personal standpoint, I was involved in Bike to Work at my employer, and it was very discouraging when I tried to get some of my coworkers to take advantage of that week of promotion in May for Bike and Walk to Work, and they're like, I'd love to do that, but I don't feel safe. I don't feel there's a safe way. And I kept saying, I'll help you find a safe route. But the main problem was the intersection in front of our work, and the intersection had just been redone, and it did not take into consideration at all bike or pedestrian safety at that intersection. And it was kind of too bad, because a lot of money and time was spent on it. But
what was this? Where was the?
Outside of Liberty Mutual, the intersection in Dover, at Indian Way, whatever the name of that. I forget the name of the road, but 6th Street.
6th Street.
Yeah. And that was sad to me when all my coworkers were like, I'd love to, but it's not safe to do so. And I wasn't a good person to disagree, because everyone knew my history of being hit a couple times on my bike, so I wasn't a good example of that. But I guess I'm here to represent those folks who also see the benefits of the grassroots effort, and that money seems like a drop in the bucket on the bigger projects, but a huge effect on the road on these types of quality programs for our community. Thank you. Thanks for having the meeting.
Thank you. Somebody right behind you.
Yeah. My name is Susan Geyer. I'm with the Community Action Partnership of Stratford County. We're a member of ACT. We have outreach offices all across the county. Every single one of them needs to be on a bus line. Coast is vital to our low-income clients that we serve. We serve thousands of them every year. We also give bus tickets out to these low-income clients who need to get to work, who need to go to the hospital. We have a homeless outreach worker that gets bus tickets to folks so they can get to a shelter. That's our directive, is to help these people. We have a 5310 vehicle of our own. We also rely on some funding through BEAS, the Title IIIB funding, to actually operate it. But there is absolutely no way our agency could afford a vehicle on our own, and that is huge. We've had the same driver since the 1970s. She picks them up at their home. She takes the folks, they're all age 60 and over, to the grocery store, to the mall. We give hundreds of rides, nearly 1,000 a year, to hundreds of older residents of this county. And without that, it would be done. It wouldn't exist, the program wouldn't exist, but we are now able, because of additional 5310 money that is coming before Governor and Council very soon, to be able to provide additional hours of service to elderly and disabled people using our vehicle. We wouldn't be able to pay our driver any additional money, but we're able to do that and actually run the bus a little more. We just got approval this year, hasn't arrived yet, for a new vehicle to replace the one that we've had for nearly 6 years. So I don't even tell you how many miles it has on it, but but these are things that this service would not exist in Stratford County, and it has been here for years, for decades. And so to us, it's vital. Some of these folks, especially in the winter, cannot get out of their house to go to the grocery store. They've told us without their CAT bus, it's like being in jail. So this is, hits close to home for us and our agency and the clients that we serve, because we are kind of a unique program in the county. And I don't think there's anybody else, who does what we do, and we would love to continue to provide this service. So that's just my 2 cents and my support for Coast and ACT, and also the ability to continue to provide the service to folks in Stratford County.
Thank you. Sir.
Also like to thank you all for being here. My name's Bob Jaffin. I am on the Stratford Regional Planning Commission. I'm also a station host, volunteer for the Amtrak, and I teach graduate and undergraduate transportation courses and sit on a number of transportation research board projects. I'd rather go back to extend from what Steve was saying and look at the big picture. And I'm very curious. I fully appreciate an excellent presentation, but I haven't heard any mention of PIMSA, MARAD, and other modes. And the two areas I am concerned with from economic development rather than individual citizen convenience are the ability to double stack throughout the area as we bring rail back for freight. And the other half of that is how that will interface with any plans the state's engaging on to take advantage of the 2014 expansion of the Panama Canal. There's a tremendous amount of effort going to North American Marine Highway or short sea transport, and I know there are a number of inland ports and smaller ports that are working hard to develop hub and spoke systems to take advantage of what will be a major increase in cargo coming to the East Coast and the Gulf Coast. And I realize that should not be your main focus on the one hand, but hearing no mention of pipeline, hearing no mention of PIMSA grant money, which is very limited but certainly exists in the hazmat area, I just suggest there is a lot more than highway. And my impression as a citizen who's moved up here and been here 6 years is we have the New Hampshire Department of Highways, not the New Hampshire Department of Transportation. And I appreciate the need for that. And as a commuter who travels regularly, I truly appreciate the work that's gone on both in my city and on the state's level in repaving. But we have to look far beyond simply highway. And I didn't hear anything really addressing some of those issues. And I don't know that you were able to at this point in time, but I urge the council to dig deeper into some of these. This is the economic viability. Businesses are moving more issues out of the large congested port cities, and we have opportunities. And as I remember, Pease was an alternate site because of its length for shuttle landings. I suspect there are ways to take commercial advantage of that, which we may not have looked at yet. Again, thank you.
I can address a couple. I have a mic. I can very, very quickly. Two of the issues that you raised, strike home, is to talk about the double stack trains and things. All of the bridges that we're doing along this corridor, along the Downeaster corridor. We're just finishing a project on Route 9 in Dover, out near what used to be Davidson Rubber. I don't know what it is now, but bridges in Portsmouth, not Portsmouth, bridges in Plastow. A number of bridge replacements over that corridor have been replaced at the 22.5 height clearance to support the double stacks. Someone mentioned I think you had mentioned the bridge. There are a number of quasi-municipal state bridges that the state of New Hampshire took over from B&M, ones like the Oak Street Bridge and on the border between Dover and Rollinsford, that, part of the reason those I don't think have been addressed is because to address them, they should be replaced or redone at the higher clearance. The ramifications of that in terms of costs and property impacts are tough, so that they sit where they are now. Hopefully at some point someday they will be addressed. So we are cognizant of that and are working for that along the corridor. A couple of projects we didn't really mention too much, but it is important in this area, is the bridges over the Piscataqua River. And we're working right now on going out to begin work on replacement of the Memorial Bridge project. We had just opened bids on that a couple of weeks ago. There is an issue with the Sarah Mildred Long Bridge, whereas it is probably another $50 to $70 million to replace versus rehabilitate that bridge. That bridge has a narrower opening than the Memorial Bridge, and it is a hindrance to expanded vessels or bigger vessels that the widening of the Panama Canal would facilitate. So it is something we're looking at as we get the Memorial Bridge underway and looking at the next bridge we have to address, the Sarah Long Bridge, how to fund it, right now it's down, it's listed as a rehabilitation, but there are very real concerns about the navigational channel, and we are going to be struggling and looking at that. Hopefully addressing it in terms of a replacement, because it's been heard loud and clear that, again, beyond that and what that would facilitate in terms of the economic vitality of the port and the region and everything, all need to be considered. So, but I appreciate you bringing up some of those issues. So.
Is there anybody else wishing to provide any testimony or questions? Yes.
Good evening. I'll be brief. I wasn't going to speak. My name's Tom Willis. I'm the Public Works Director in the City of Somersworth. As I said, I'll echo my thanks for having this hearing. I guess we were the last of 27. Hopefully provide some good information for you. I just want to echo the comments made by my colleague Dave Sharples regarding the importance of the Somersworth Berwick Bridge as a gateway to Somersworth and to New Hampshire, and the TE grant to improve and enhance the look and feel of downtown Somersworth as a place where people come and engage in commerce. What's compelled me, however, though, to get up and speak, I'll be briefly given the hour of the evening, was just listening to this evening's presentation by DOT. I was struck by the diminishing amount of funding that was coming from all sources to maintain our infrastructure and our transportation network. Just looking at the graph, programming for improvements in maintenance and projects totaling close to $200 million annually, and just looking at the downward trend, projecting that we're only having enough funds to manage half of that. As we know, maintenance is very important. We're maintaining our investment that we've made for generations in this transportation network, which is really the lifeline for all of us. And it was really Mr. Ortman here who kind of opened the door, compelled me to get up and speak. The importance of needed revenue, and the thing that really is obvious to me, and I've being in this business as an engineer at the local level for well over a decade, I always come back to the gas tax. We have not raised the gas tax since 1991. I don't think there's any other revenue source, even our own personal incomes, that has stayed static for 20 years. I mean, even look at the minimum wage. Has had a general increase just to maintain inflation. I know there's been a big debate here on the gas tax here a couple of years ago, and maybe Counselor, you're not the right person, but there are two legislators in this room, arguably politically, one on both sides of the aisle, and I think we need to look at this. We look at the market forces of what the price of gasoline has done over the last 4 or 5 years. It's been up as high as $4 a gallon. It's been as low as below $2 a gallon. I think just looking at what 1 cent increase does, that's $7 to $8 million a year to close that gap. And frankly, the gas tax, the price of gasoline fluctuates 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 cents overnight. And I think, given the market forces of the gas tax, that that the average person would not feel it. It would just, whenever, if the legislature were to raise that and the governor would sign it, it would be, it doesn't have to be that much as shown in your betterment, 3 cents. That's $22.5 million that can be used to close that gap. And I think that needs to be looked at because what we're doing here and what you're showing here is not sustainable. And we're just kidding ourselves that our infrastructure is just crumbling. We've had this list of deferred projects. To me, being in this business, the answer is simple. And the